LIV. Welcome to Celebrity Facts. In the studio today, we have a great guest, Minnesota pioneer, music pioneer in the house. I'm so honored to have him here. Actually, he won 2018 Africa Awards. So I'm so excited. We got to get into how he started his music business. How is it going? Is he still doing it? I mean, there's so many questions to ask. So stay tuned, and I'm going to get All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the studio Papa. Shalita, right? Shalita. I always forget it. Let's welcome to the studio, Papa Shalita. I'm so honored to have you, Papa Shalita. How are you doing?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here because I've been wanting to get here like forever. So I'm glad that my number finally got pulled up.
And this will be like the second interview.
Yeah.
I did interview you just for a little bit at the awards.
Yes.
So were you shocked about winning, or you were just like, I knew I got it?
I was totally shocked because I didn't know that I was getting an award. It was I think they sent me the information about a week before the actual event itself. So I had no idea. I had no idea. So it was a totally big surprise, but
that's
a pleasant surprise.
Yes, that's a good way to end the 2018 year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you
so where is your trophy? Like where is your award right now?
Well, I at home I put it in the cabinet because I didn't want anybody just handling it.
Is it somewhere you can see it? Like
yes,
when
yes,
you see it?
It's a glass cabinet.
Oh,
it's got
nice.
a key, and I got the key.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your music career. You started like in the 1990s, in the 90s, right?
Yeah, here in Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
Actually, what happened was that I moved to Minneapolis in 1980. Okay. After I finished college at the University of Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
I had some friends of mine, one of my friends who I went to college with, had moved to the Twin Cities, and he had hooked up with an African band called Sweet Taste of Africa, which was probably original, one of the oldest first African bands, 1980. So he told me, well, because he and I used to play music together on campus and stuff like that, and we both loved playing African music. So they started this African group, Sweet Taste of Africa. And so I said, well, I got to move to the Twin Cities. That's how I came up here. I had no idea. I had no intention of moving to the Twin Cities.
We're happy that you move over. Like, we can have you in a cheesehead state. So I'm we're really honored to have you in our state.
It was really was fate. So every time I see him, my friend, I always tell him, it's your fault that I'm in Minnesota.
So you guys did the band together. How did you come up with the Shalita band?
So I worked with Sweet Taste of Africa from 1980 to about 1982, and then I worked with Ipso Facto, which is another local band. It's a very long stay reggae group.
Nice.
And so those brothers and sisters adopted me as part of their group. I also worked as a roadie in many other groups, including Shangoya, which is a great band for our late brother Peter Aldrich Nelson. May he rest in peace. But in 1983, because for me, I'm from Africa and I just love African music. There was just a void with respect to people playing African music,
Mm,
and that's what I know best.
yeah.
And so I said, I need to put together an African group. And that's how the Shalita band
So
started.
let's rewind a little bit. How did you get into music?
Music, back home in Africa, we have huge extended families.
Yeah.
So a lot of my relatives were musicians who inspired me to play music. Many of them have gone on, passed away. But as a kid, a lot of our festivals, whether it's a wedding or it's a birth, music is involved.
Yes.
And, you got traditional groups come in and they play drums, and that's the first start I had was playing drums.
Drums. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You mean like the hand?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's where I got the music bite, I guess, just from playing those drums. And then when I went to grade school, and it was boarding school, there was only one guitar. It was a boarding school, and there was only one guitar in the school, but it was myself and another kid were the only ones interested in the guitar. So either he had it or I had it.
Oh,
We never fought though, but we shared the guitar. And so I ended up learning how to play guitar, and he also ended up learning how to play guitar, and he also ended up being a professional musician. Just
oh,
myself.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So how many instruments do you play?
I would say that guitar is my primary instrument. I can play percussion, but I wouldn't call myself a percussionist because you have to do that all the time.
Okay.
But I'll just say I'm still a student of the guitar.
Okay, so let's talk about Minnesota a little bit. How did you end up in Stillwater and pulling one of the biggest African crowd over there?
That's one of the things that even today I still marvel about how that happened. My drummer that particular time, Mr. Mike Hurley, he's from Stillwater.
Okay.
And he knew one of the restaurant owners where we were performing, and he approached him and said, "Hey, I'm playing with this African band, wondering if you'd let us come and play." Of course, what day do you? They'll give you a Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? Say, I won't give you a Saturday. I won't give you a Friday. I'll give you a Sunday.
Because that's when.
Yeah, I'll see if you can do something.
Yes.
Well, it turned out that Sunday was actually the perfect day because we only played from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh.
Which made it possible for people to come early with their children, their families, and eat and then get entertained and go home and still be able to make it to work on Monday.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that was the key driver, really. And once word got out that there was African music in the Twin Cities, I really appreciate all the support from so many of our fellow Africans who drive. It was a big risk driving to Stillwater in those days.
Stillwater is far.
Yeah, no, police.
That's true too.
Nothing against the police,
but we know Africans.
Exactly.
If you're African, you know what we're talking about.
And that was before the days of Black Lives Matter, So we get a lot of tickets, but I think eventually even the communities, embraced the African community coming to Stillwater because it was good for the economy. And,
yes.
We are just like everybody else. We just want to have a good time, peace, and there was no trouble for anybody.
Exactly.
In fact, we were there for 6 years, and I can only recall in those 6 years, I can only recall 2 fights in 6 years.
That's good.
Yeah, 2 fights.
That's really good.
Yeah, just 2 fights.
Wow.
The entire 6 years, and 2 fights by 2 drunks.
By 2, of course. Of course. So, what have been some of the difficulties as a musician?
I think the biggest challenge is as an African musician is trying to convince the broader community that our music is it's something to be to be offered, and it's something to it takes away when I approach a potential customer, let's say a restaurant owner or a club owner, and say, "Hey, can you book my band?" Well, they say, "Well, what kind of music you play?" I say, "Well, African music." Well, it's not like
They're like, Okay.
Right,
African
because
music?
they're thinking, well, I don't know, am I going to get somebody over here?
Exactly.
What kind of numbers are you going to get? Am I going to make any money? That's the bottom line.
Oh. Yes.
So that's a big challenge. But all it really takes is for someone to take
chance on
the
you.
risk, the chance of the risk. Like Mr. Scott Zarin, who owned Trump's in Stillwater, he took that chance with us.
Yes.
And then once he heard the music, and music is universal.
It is.
It's a universal language. You don't have to understand the words, but it moves everybody.
Exactly.
That's where you come from. And once he realized that, hey, this was a force to deal with, because Stillwater ended up being every Sunday being an international community.
Mm-hmm.
Not only Africans there were white folks, and, other people from minority communities. It was an umbrella of humanity. It was
exactly.
like the world assembled in Stillwater on Sundays, and that's what we
Exactly.
want. We want people to. It's all about love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, after Stillwater, how did you get the gig to perform at Nelson Mandela's?
At Orchestra Hall.
Yes.
Excuse me.
And how was the experience?
Oh, Orchestra Hall. That's one of the best places to perform.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was my second time to perform in that venue. I performed there a long time ago for another program. But this one was actually the best because they actually invited us to honor Madiba, which is, he's one of our greatest, if not the greatest African hero.
Mm-hmm.
So that was I think that was another surprise again. I didn't expect them to invite me over there. But having
you guys were making waves.
Yeah, well, I think, having performed in the Twin Cities for over 40 years,
mm-hmm.
I think was a little of a contributing factor, the fact that, I've been performing around here for, I would say close to 45 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they looked at, which African artists have been around, and they looked and they said, okay, yeah, there's that old dude over there. He's still around. Oh, he's still around? Okay, let's call it.
Is his number still the same?
Right. Yeah, funny thing, my number's still the same.
That's good. That's good. I refuse to change my number too.
Yeah.
So how was the experience though?
Oh, it was just wonderful because as a performer, you want to play in a venue like that. That's
mm-hmm.
a venue like that for artists is one of the top venues you can be performing. It's not an every day that you get invited to perform on
exactly
a venue
something
like that.
Yeah. Yes.
And the acoustics in there are so great. And another pleasant surprise was that the lead sound man at
mm-hmm.
Orchestra Hall, Mr. J. Pullman, when we were young people, because I started performing in the Twin Cities when I was in my 20s. I think I was 22.
Oh, wow.
And he was also, I think he was still in high school. He was one of my sound men then.
Oh, wow.
So here we meet 30 years later. And I look at him, I say, Jay, is that you? I say, Shalita, is that you? Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, so that was really good.
So let me come back. Why did you name your band Shalita? And what does Shalita mean?
Shalita is my family name.
Okay. Okay.
I think I named it Shalita because number one, when you have a project or the vision, sometimes you have to claim it.
Yes.
So I had the vision to have an African band, regardless,
mm-hmm.
and I figured the best way to drive that vision is just call it Shalita, because for one thing, I was a solo performer,
mm-hmm.
as an African guitarist.
Okay.
So I could do little projects as a solo guitarist, playing African music. Nice. And so I think it was important for me to maintain that, mm-hmm. because then it gives you an opportunity to have consistency.
Yes.
Because along this musical journey for me, I've worked with so many great artists, who come up, but the band's name doesn't change.
It doesn't. Yes. Which I like.
Yeah.
It's consistent, and no one can forget it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's through your 40 years of being a musician or being in the music industry, could you give me like a couple of your favorite moments or memorable moments?
Uh, you know me as a musician. I love music. I love music of all kinds of genres.
Mm-hmm.
I love funk music, rhythm and blues. I love rock and roll.
Nice.
So in my younger days, I think I used to go out almost every night just to check out some artists.
Yeah.
And my most memorable ones was watching artists that I had bought their albums, I had with them, but I've never seen them live.
Oh,
Then when you go to see them live,
mm-hmm.
I was just, and the one artist that just totally blew me away was the late Prince. Going to see his shows. I've seen at least 5 of his shows.
What?
But I used to say, whatever he's eating, I want
to
eat
it. Oh man! Oh, I love
he was such a great performer. He rest in peace. He was just a great performer, a great artist. Yeah. So that's an experience I just will never forget.
Oh, that's awesome. So besides Minnesota, I know you've been here for all this time, but have you gotten gigs out of Minnesota?
Yes, we've gotten gigs out of Minnesota. One of the things that we do is back up other African artists.
Oh, nice.
We use the band to back up other artists.
Mm-hmm.
We try to work with as many. We backed up Kanda Bongo Man for almost a year on his North American tours. Then we had the opportunity to play at one of the inaugural balls when President Barack Obama became president in 2009 in Washington, D.C.
Nice.
Yeah, that was absolutely...
how was that? Now you got to tell me about it.
I'm telling you, I almost didn't perform because in the hall, the Secret Service was there. They were very strict. Mm-hmm. I didn't have my AMBA band with me, to get back in the hall. And I'd gone outside. So I tried to get back into the gig. It's almost like 15 minutes to showtime. Mm-hmm. And they say, where's your band?
Oh, man.
I said, I'm with the band. They said, no, you're not. If you're with a band, you're going to have your band. Yeah. I said, really, I am. And they said, but luckily enough, they went back and talked to the Secret Service. They're serious. They don't play around. So eventually they let me back in there just in time for us to get started.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
But that was it was called the Pan-African Inaugural Ball. Mm-hmm. It was hosted by the Kenyan Embassy because obviously President Barack Obama is one of their sons. Yeah. But all the African ambassadors were there. It was beautiful to see the African diplomatic community get together. Yes. For for that occasion. Of course, the president himself didn't come because he had so many other balls to go, the Navy ball, the military ball. Oh, man. But his family was there. A lot of members of his family were there. So and that's the first time I've seen so many stars, like Robert De Niro and oh, wow. Yeah, I was like Hollywood mesmerized. I was totally mesmerized. Oh, wow. That's when I found out that Robert De Niro is married to a black woman.
Really? You didn't know that?
Yeah, he was there with his wife and kids.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, bless him, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So now I understand, his reaction.
The way he does it.
Yeah. I understand his reaction. I said, go ahead, bro.
Go ahead. I got you. Now I understand.
Yeah, tell him.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So so far have there been any venues or shows that you would like to perform that you haven't performed at yet?
You mean locally?
Yes.
Yes. There are a few clubs. It's tough to get in, It's tough to get in, not because they don't want you to play there. It's because they're so popular and there's so many artists who are booked there. So it's almost you gotta wait for your number. But I've been holding that number for a long time. Oh. But one place I like to perform is Bunkers. It's down here on the west Warehouse District. I just love that venue. It's an intimate club because they have a nice sound, they have a nice stage, and It's not very big, so but it's one of those places that I like to perform in. Not an extreme, unless you're doing like a big show. But if it's a local show, like an intimate place where you can interact with
people.
with people. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Bunkers,
I
it's in
think I've
Washington.
never heard of that.
Oh yeah, it should. Every Sunday and Monday they have rhythm and blues. Great band, you know. Some of those musicians perform with Prince. You should go check them out. Sundays and Mondays, and then on Tuesdays they have International Reggae All Stars there every Tuesday.
Oh,
Yeah,
I need to go check it out.
Absolutely.
I need to check it out.
Yeah, Bunkers, I plugged in for you. You better hire me now.
Yes. And I am gonna check you guys out too. I'm very interested in that one. Yes, I'm gonna check it out. So, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
you know, I interview artists, upcoming artists a lot.
Mhm.
How do you get yourself booked into clubs and other places? What drives you to do it, or how do you guys get booked?
What I say to the young musicians is, first of all, if you have a passion in your craft, in your artwork, keep at it, and then don't give up. Just keep knocking on doors.
Yeah.
You know, whether I knocked on more than $200 before the first club allowed me to perform, which was at the 400, which is on the West Bank, on Cedar and Riverside. You know, so you got to do that. You can't give up. You just have to keep knocking if you have that passion. You know, and eventually something's going to open.
Wow. So, have you performed to Red Sea?
Where?
Red Sea.
Oh, Red Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're there every last Saturday of the month.
Really?
So, yeah, please come.
Currently?
Every last Saturday of the month we're there. And what I try to do on each Saturday of the month, the last one is to have a different theme, an African-oriented theme, you know. So, because I want to play music from all over Africa as much as I can. So I don't know when I'm going to encourage my brother Larry B to come there and do his spiel on it. It's very hard to get a hold of it.
Oh, really?
He's so busy, you know. He's so busy.
I need to come watch you guys. You know, I grew up in Minnesota.
Yes.
I just left for a while, but I grew up in Minnesota, and it's been one of the clubs I've seen it. There have been a lot of opportunities but I've never been inside.
Okay. For me, it's full circle because I started at the 400, which was across the street. And then I started at the Red Sea when they just got started back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
So now I performed different places, Stillwater and all places, and finally came back. Started coming back home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's a nice little intimate club. It really is nice. Yeah. It's got a nice little stage, a nice sound system. The employees there are very personable, and it's for me, it's every last Saturday of the month. It's home, so we encourage you come and check it out.
Because I have to. So besides the Red Sea, where else do you guys perform? On
Sunday, this Sunday actually, we're starting what I call the early show at Jumbo Africa, which is here.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
We've been there.
Yeah, so come please and get the word out. And,
okay.
You know, I know there's a lot of West African brothers and sisters out here in the neighborhood, so I'll do my best to learn some of those West African songs like Prince Nickelbaga.
Oh, I was about to say, is it gonna be like karaoke? Can I get on the mic and sing too?
No,
and pretend I have a band.
No, you come on stage and sing with us.
Yes. Now that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were telling me, but we have to talk it. You know, it was behind the camera. How many languages do you speak? I was so fascinated by it.
Currently, I speak 3 languages fluently: English, Swahili, and Luganda.
Wow! So how did you learn? How did you get into learning those languages? Because you've been here for a long time.
Yes, but you know, I didn't come to the United States until I was like 16 years old. So by the time I got here, I already had command of the other languages, Swahili and Luganda. So, and then you know, my family, we speak our native dialects, and so that really
nice.
I used to be able to at least have a conversation in French, and I could hear a little bit of Arabic, but when you don't use those languages, you just lose it. So I can understand when someone is speaking in French, but I can't have a conversation. I can understand a little bit when they're speaking Arabic, but I can't have a conversation. I wish I did, though, because one of the things I do as an independent contractor is I'm an interpreter. So I interpret. Sometimes the courts call me. I go to court, and if there's a trial, somebody's in trouble, or there's a deposition, or the hospital, and so it's a nice little side gig.
So okay, as an interpreter now, sometimes do you feel like if you're hearing the person's story, you're like, oh man, and you just have to like, Your Honor, do you like talk in their on their behalf sometimes? Or you just have to just be straightforward and interpret it.
As an interpreter, you have to interpret what's being said, exactly what's being said. And the first time I started doing interpreting, it was very intimidating because the courtroom language is so different from our regular language. And sometimes you get a case which is fraught with a lot of emotion. It's very intense. One of my most difficult cases involved murder. And so you got families, witnesses. You're hearing horrific things, and you have to maintain your composure. That's
the hardest part,
difficult.
I think. Yeah.
So it really takes some time to develop that thick skin to just not to pull all that stuff away and just interpret
and just be like, this is
because sometimes you hear funny things and you want to burst out.
Oh really? Okay, you got to give me one example.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And you just have to maintain your composure. Really hard. Sorry, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry. I can't.
The judge. But the judge will say, Mr. Interpreter, why are you laughing? So what I do, whenever I get a client, the first thing I tell them, I say, hey, listen, I'm here just to interpret.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't ask me to help you and stuff like that. Because some of them will say, come on, why don't you tell the judge? Tell the judge.
Yeah.
We're brothers. No, we're brothers. Help me out. Don't do that.
Don't. Because you're going to be getting in trouble.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so don't do that. So it's good to let them know right ahead. Because otherwise you're going to get those kind of situations.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, I asked you about your favorite memory. What about one of your worst gigs you ever had?
Oh my God. I had a few of those things.
Oh!
But I'll tell you the one that's indelible in my mind was when we opened there's a very I don't know if they're still performing, a great international punk group called The Clash.
I've heard the name.
Well, back in the 80s was a huge punk wave as a music genre. And The Clash was one of the biggest bands in the world. We were opening for them in St. Paul at the Excel.
Yeah.
I can't remember what its name used to be, but so here, sold out. The place is sold out. You got all these young Clash headbangers in the house, and we're opening for them. So we start performing, there were this group of young Clash heads were in front of us. And as we're playing our African music, outside behind them where people were jumping and enjoying. With this group here, they were busy cursing at us. Saying like,
oh wow.
I can't say some of the words here on stage. But they're like,
my goodness.
F on stage. No. Well, fortunately, except when we were at the Blue Nile, there was one time when some drunks just came in. There was a fight outside the Blue Nile. And the person these drunks were trying to beat up or hurt ran into the Blue Nile. So they chased him into the Blue Nile, and he was running around, and they were running around. We were performing, we see people running around, and these guys had a lot of nerve. They went to the bar, got glasses, started throwing them around, pitching them around.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
you can't make that stuff up. I think you see that stuff in
I mean, it's like a jaw-dropping moment. Like, really? Yeah.
But fortunately, we had some really good bouncers. John, one of he was from Nigeria too, John. Well, he took care of that. You know?
Okay.
He took good care of that.
Wow. Well, it's been an honor just having you here. I can keep you here forever.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got you because now I can retire my number.
You can retire.
I won't have to pester you guys anymore. Hey, come on, guys, call me.
Call me. Oh no.
Appreciate
That I was so excited to have you on the because I interview artists, so it was like, oh yes, I have an artist on here, and he's a pioneer. It felt like gold. It was a really honorable moment for me.
That's an honor for me too.
Yes.
And keep up the good work. You guys, I really appreciate what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
People usually don't have an idea of how much work it takes to put something together like this. It's a lot of work.
It is.
So I say kudos to you guys and keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you, or your band, what are your social media handles for them?
All they have to do is just look me up on Facebook, Yusuf Shalita. They'll find me there.
All right. There you go.
Put Yusuf Shalita. There are a few other Shalitas. A couple of them are musicians, but one is Jewish, so it's not me.
It's not.
And he's a good buddy of mine too. But so you look for the African Shalita.
The African Shalita with the dreadlocks.
Yeah, with the dreadlocks.
Yes, his picture his dreadlocks is always down. So look for it.
Yeah,
that will tell you. But thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. This is your girl, Lady TLIB. Once again, from Celebrity Facts on Wild Africa TV. And we'll see you next time. Love, peace, and music.
Wow, bye-bye. That's where it's at.
Yes, that's where it's at. Thank you so much. It was so much fun.